If you can stop talking for 10 seconds, that would be fantastic. I ignore that. Even though every white guy impulse in me wants to continue the singing of the song. You want to hit the start timer on there? You want to hit? You want to start podcasting, genius?
Hey, Biff, why did Santa Claus send his daughter to college?
Santa Claus has a daughter.
He probably has several. He's lonely up there,
Wait, so you're telling me that like Santa Claus actually bangs Mrs. Claus? Because that would blow children's mind, Jacques.
Well, this is a family show, so try to keep it clean. Why did Santa Claus send his daughter to college?
You're the one that made Santa have sex with his wife. So I don't know why it's okay. So anyway, Santa Claus, yeah, why did he send his daughter to college?
To keep her off the North Pole.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Keep her...
something about the family show. What was that?
All right. Hey, Biff, why did Santa's, helpers in the shop have ED, erectile dysfunction?
Dysfunction? Why did they have ED?
They all suffered from low self-esteem. Elf-steam.
It would be great if we actually had a legitimate funny person to actually start the show, like somebody who could actually tell real jokes and maybe do some impersonations and stuff, like like somebody who actually has talent. That would be nice, don't you?
I don't know if we have the budget for that, but hold on, let me look. You know what? I'll post something on Craigslist right now and see if somebody.
I found a dime on the floor today. I'll contribute to them my dime.
All right.
Did somebody say a dime?
It's a Christmas miracle.
He's back from the dead. Anyway,
I actually never died. It was just something to get out of paying income taxes.
Oh my God. Gilbert Gottfried. We have Gilbert Gottfried on the show.
I wish. Yeah, you know what? I think now we could get him. I think now is the time. True.
We got just as good a chance now.
We're gonna podcast in front of his grave. We got Gilbert. We're with Gilbert Gottfried today.
Yes.
He's not able to speak very well, but we're with we visited him at his residence.
Right.
With that said, hello everybody. Welcome to Carnival Personnel. I'm Jacques.
This is Biff.
And I am Joe.
So I'm quite sure the listenership on this show will be through the roof because everybody, after spending, yesterday with your families for Christmas, don't want anything else but to get away from the family and spend quality time with a quality podcast. And if they can't find one of those, maybe they're stuck with us. So anyways, belated Merry Christmas to everybody. I know the three of us has valiantly fought that war on Christmas.
I love Christmas. Kentucky Fried Chicken is awesome.
Yeah, I wish I was Japanese so I could have Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas, but instead I had to spend it with my family. Yuck. With home cooked meals, PU.
That guy Jordan, I saw one of his profiles. He's at Rockefeller Center talking to Red Hat people about, can you believe how disgusting it is that and in the blue states you don't celebrate, and of course people are like, yeah, I haven't seen anybody celebrating Christmas. There's no, like, with the giant tree
yeah.
And it's always like there's no signs here at all in these blue states. It's like Christmas has been banned, and then the camera's like, the guy would shift and there'd be like a big angel like behind like a sculpture as these people are legitimately, anyways, back to us. So last week it was one of the most fun I had, doing this podcast. Even management listen, and my kids were listening, to part of it because I had told them about some of the shenanigans you two evil people had played. But it was great. And then next week another start the new year. It's like, I just like wrote down some like light stuff. It's like, hey, what are you looking forward to next year? So that should be okay too. But real quickly, Biff, what were some of the highlights for you this year? Well, other than spending quality time with me driving to Phoenix.
Well, really, it's just kind of, getting back closer to, where we were in, 2019. I think that was overall a highlight. I mean, it's the, I still wear masks to grocery stores, and there's all that kind of stuff. Every time I get a cough, I'm like, shoving that Q-tip up my nose and stuff like that. But still, all in all, like there's a certain level of normalcy. So like I think in that sense, just the overall reduction in just, stress and malaise and all that stuff. I think, compared to 2021, where it started to open up, I think this past year, just felt a lot more normal.
Joe, you got one thing that stands out that was a real highlight in the old Joe household this year?
Yeah, I finally got to own the libs. I got COVID, and that was pretty cool. I was like, you know what? The other side, sometimes the grass is greener and phlegmier. So that was cool. By the way, I'm getting my booster this week. So thoughts and prayers in advance. Maybe we'll see what happens.
So it's funny because the three of us have gotten our boosters and our shots as soon as we could. Yeah. And but I was driving the other day, and there was a PSA on the radio station that they're giving out like gift cards, like $50, sometimes $75 gift cards to get boosted. And it's like, oh, check, right. Like, and that look on Joe's face, I have the feeling. I
feel like a sucker because I signed up voluntarily.
Right. And I thought about that. I'm like, hey, I'm not due for another booster for like a couple months, but I'm going to Google. I'll drive 20 extra minutes for a free $75. Look, I would drive an extra 20 minutes for a free oven mitt. But that's just me and Mrs. Newsbob. But so that was your highlight this year, getting COVID.
Yes, and buying a house.
Okay,
just kidding. Yeah, I'm going to be homeless next year. So.
Wait, you don't have your car anymore?
No, the kids get the car. My wife and the kids get the car. I'll be living in a van inside a river because. That's the retirement plan right there. Just put it in neutral and a steep slope.
So I'll give you guys. So one of the highlights for me this year is after 2 years about talking about it with Joe, and thinking about it for a long time, finally started doing some open mic comedy again. And it's been interesting. Hold on. I'm reading my notes. I suck. Like I wasn't sure, but yeah, I wrote down here.
You do suck because you had to write a note that you suck.
right. Look, I can't even remember that. I have to still put it on my cheat card. It's been interesting. It's been really interesting. And maybe at one point I'm going to do a whole sideshow about like these little subcultures. Like the open mic circle in Worcester is different than, here in Lowell. It turns out there's a couple other places that I just found out about. It's just interesting, the thinking behind why some people are doing it. And anyways, but as far as I go, I suck. But I had a funny story the other day with it that has nothing to do with actually going to the open mic. I was typing out one of my bits. And just because, look, I can't spell. It doesn't come to a surprise to anybody. I can't spell, first of all, F-I-R. No, but I had to look up the word cyanide, because one of the cyanide pill. So I put cyanide pill. And, if you don't spell something correctly, it will help you or guess. I put cyanide in, and surprisingly, I spelled it right. Okay. But what was more surprising is cyanide pill definition didn't come up first. I had to scroll down. I had to scroll past the suicide prevention hotline. The first thing that came up was, I'm dead serious, it wasn't the definition. It's like, thoughts of suicide, call, and big letters, like took up a third of the screen. 988. I guess you can call 988, which I did not. Well, Joe, you got that on speed.
Oh God, yeah. Please.
Actually, that's been on Twitter by a few people where they're advocating that that number, and it was notable, I think, because about 10 days ago the 988 system went down for a little bit, and so they're saying, well, what are you doing? It's like, what are you doing?
Imagine calling that. You're on your wits end.
Right.
I'll make one last phone call.
Your life is important to us. Please hold for the next available operator.
And then the whole music alone, even if you were in a good mood, you call that whole music might make you, get up. Right.
If the whole music is "Everybody Hurts" by REM, oops.
They're gonna like do the MASH theme song, right?
Yeah. With lyrics. Oh no! Oh no!
Do you know the MASH theme song?
Yes,
do you know the title?
Yeah, Suicide is Painless.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who wrote it? Robert Altman's 15-year-old son.
Interesting.
Because I think they wanted to get publishing rights on the song.
Oh, right. Got it.
It was just like, you know what? Yeah, I think whoever wrote the music, like they would like, just come up with lyrics, and his son came up with some.
It's worth the Wikipedia to read the story behind his son writing it. It is great.
Was it Robert Altman's son? I think
it was.
Yeah,
it was his son.
Yeah,
so that's good. So what I'm not sure if it makes you want to off yourself or just makes you want to live 100 years. But my little guy the other day, I had seen this trailer before, like scrolling through, watching like a bunch of old Hammer horror films on my Amazon or whatever it was, gave me an option to watch a movie called VelociPastor. Have you heard of this? VelociPastor?
Is it VelociPastor?
It's
a preacher, a dinosaur preacher. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Oh, we watched it. And it is like, we were talking about asylum films earlier. It's definitely the Citizen Kane of no budget horror movies. It was awesome.
It gave you Ed Wood.
I had put that on Twitter and I added the people who made it, and I suggested a couple movie podcasts I like review it. I'm like, Ed Wood is looking down or up, and he is loving this. Biff, I don't want to spoil too much, but the movie cost $36,000 to make.
Okay.
And at one crucial scene, the pastor's walking out of the church all smile after giving this great sermon. And he sees his parents who came into town for a surprise visit. And they're parked across the street and they're waving to him. Cut to a car screeching around the corner. Cut back to the parents making the horrified look like they're just about to be hit by a car. It cuts back to the pastor yelling, "No!" You hear the sound of the crash and an explosion. And it cuts back to the parents. And on the screen, it says VFX. Car on fire. And it holds there for like 8 seconds. It's not like it flashed on the screen by mistake. They when they were making it, said, okay, we're gonna put a placeholder here, and when we raise money, we'll come back and we'll actually have a car on fire with CGI. And it just holds on the screen for about 8 seconds, saying, VFX car on fire here.
They should have just put a photo of their bank statement that had $0 on there. It's
like they couldn't, that one that they always used on SNL of the car going up. Could they just steal that?
Yeah.
Boots says no.
Yeah.
Toot says no.
No. Yeah.
And we're watching it, and there's a big ninja scene, and as we know, and keeping with the authenticity of the samurai movies of the past that Quentin Tarantino borrows from and Lucas borrows from, and ninja movies, we know that the real leaders of most ninja gangs are late 20 white guys. Like that. We've right. I mean, we all know that the real heroes
look like Tom Cruise
behind this.
Yes.
And but there is a fight. It's like in a field, and this one guy's fighting like four. Dude, he cuts off somebody's head, and they don't even not try to make it look like a mannequin. You can see the person's hand just off the side of the screen, like putting ketchup on a mannequin head and rolling it into the frame. It's I cannot implore you more to watch it. So I fall down the rabbit hole about reading this, so we just coincidentally watched it. It was like we just watched it. He wanted to watch it. I heard about it before. It was one of those, the stars aligned and management was home. We all sat there and watched it. I'm reading about it. That day, like 2 hours later, was the end of their Kickstarter that they were doing to do the sequel, and they raised more than they needed, and they raised $120,000 to do the sequel, like literally 4 times the amount, to do the next one. And I'm happy for these people. I really am. The movie made money. I mean, it's made.
How could it not? Right.
Right. Like seriously,
$36,000.
How much money have we made on this podcast over the last 5 years?
Well, I'm having trouble. Early on, we used to have defunct sponsors of the week.
Yes.
And I've been chasing down those accounts. Like those.
Well, you know what's funny? You're chasing down defunct banks. And that's the problem. Yeah, you're going to Shaman Bank.
You pulled the words out of my mouth. I'm like, the Shamans, because I went down to the Shaman Center where the Bruins obviously play, and I figured I talked to the main person down there. But yeah, it was just the best and great for them.
I found a dime today.
Well,
I found a dime today.
Well, I heard. Was it a face up? Was it heads or tails?
Time, yes.
Okay.
It was heads.
That's good luck. I just
were you in your own house when you found it, Pip?
It was in my backyard, yes. But I know it wasn't mine. So in that sense, I've made that profit.
All
that
right.
is a profit that I made.
Well, making money without it, it's like an MLM. You're making money without, leaving your house or while you sleep.
That's right.
I like those MLM commercials with Santa Claus. Those are fun.
The next,
they do exist.
And I would be surprised because Biff, have you ever seen the original 1973 movie, The Wicker Man?
Oh, I have not.
So I thought you might have. I thought you might have seen it because I thought you liked some of the horror.
Yeah, British
movies.
horror, right? Yeah, British horror. Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage redid it like 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
But the
also
original,
an Iron Maiden song.
That's why, because I was searching for it and that was coming up. It's like the Iron Maiden song. I'm like, oh, because of the type of movie it is, and it stars Christopher Lee, like he was trying to get out of the Hammer, and it is. It's a class, and again, I'm just finding out these British classics. It's considered like a top 5 movie in British cinema history.
Okay. And is that kind of like the top 5 foods in the British cuisine history?
Yeah. Which by the way, you're afraid the White Snake guy, he posted some
David Coverdale,
some magazine just posted the 100 best nations by cuisine, and Britain was 29th, and he's like, this is way too high on the list. But no, I watched.
Well, to be fair, they actually compiled that list 3,000 years ago when there was only 31 countries.
So so I'd seen a clip of the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I know there's a famous line from that, and they were talking about it in his new movie, the Incredible Likeness of Being or whatever, where he plays himself.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll watch this. And the other one came up. I'm like, oh. Yeah, I think I'd rather watch the 1973. It's kind of on brand for me. And it is. It's one of those movies where, I guess the hero doesn't have to win. Oh, I guess movies don't have to have happy endings. Oh.
Spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's one of if you haven't seen it in the last 50 years.
I haven't.
All right.
Not that you watch the horror movies, but the ending of The Ring is drastically different between the Japanese version and the American version.
Yeah, I 100% believe that.
And of course the book is completely different, but
And the Canadian version is 6 weeks later.
I was gonna say it hasn't come out yet. Oh,
But it's cheaper.
Yes.
So
and somewhat cleaner. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, so circling back to the comic things, I might while I'm doing these things, there's a couple people who I've run into and become friendly with doing these open mics because you see some of the same people. And there's been a couple of people like, oh, I'd love to come on. I don't know if I want to have, and this sounds like, I know it sounds like a dick. I don't know if any of these people would be captivating enough to have a whole half-hour chat about it, but maybe we'll roll the dice because that's one thing.
I mean, we think we're captivating enough to have a whole entire hour, often more. So I don't know what you're thinking, but
I wouldn't mind like having bits, and maybe I'll just record them and have 5-minute little chats or 10-minute little chats that I'll drop because every person I've ran across, not every person, but most people I've come across, even if they're just as bad as me, they'll have one bit that's just great. Like one guy who like last week, he's okay, nice guy.
Yeah.
He did Christopher Walken singing like, Jingle Bells, Batman Smells as Christopher Walken, and it was fucking awesome. Like if he did a whole routine doing that, it would not have been boring and stuff like that. But I thought, hey, maybe.
But he doesn't want to be typecast, so I think that's why he's making that smart move, so that, yeah.
But it's just a different world. And I might, in a couple months, I might do a sideshow where I just talk about not any of the comedy, but just the whole mechanisms behind it and stuff like that. Because there's definitely, all of these subcultures are Christopher Guest movies that haven't been made yet.
Sure.
Inside the loser's studio.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And there are some people out there, and this is it. They're just trying to kill it on a Tuesday night at a bar that, there's 5 people at. And that's all they want to do. Like that is their, and I talked to one kid like recently about, and he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then 18 months and 2 years, I hope to be one of the better known, comics in the Worcester circuit. And I'm just looking, I'm like waiting for the punchline, like waiting for the, and he's like, no, that's it. That, his dreams take him to,
Well, he's setting reasonable, achievable goals. Like he's not saying, I'm going to be on the Tonight Show next year. So
Carson, I'm still hoping for my 5 minutes on Carson. That's kind of that's how unrealistic my sights are. I'm gonna get a DeLorean that goes 88 miles an hour. Gonna go back and go.
I don't think the time circuits go back that far. I think that's too far back in time.
So this was an interesting thing that came up like right after we did our last podcast that I've been trying to get a little more news on, but there's been a lot of hush hush going on. Did you guys hear in New York City and Brooklyn an entire
New York City?
and in 2, 3, an entire warehouse, an NYPD warehouse burned to the ground.
Huh?
We're talking tens of thousands of cases of evidence of trials that are going on, that are going to be going on, that the entire warehouse just went up in flames. Not suspicious.
Was there like a waste management vehicle nearby on that day?
Yeah.
Was it trash pickup day?
There was a legitimate business vehicle nearby.
Yeah. I'm just asking if it was trash day or something like that.
You got a nice evidence warehouse here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. But I can't imagine like the phone calls from defense lawyers to their clients. It's like, hey, Mickey, 3 years. Good news, and the phone calls like prosecutors are making to like judges. It's like, I swear we had the evidence. It was right there.
Hey, I don't know. The sprinklers were working when we left there.
Oh man, talking about going up in smoke. There's a few aspects of Twitter I'd like to discuss with you guys. First of all, First of all, let's start with a little bit of Biff or Joe. I don't say very well. What's the German word for celebrating somebody else's misery?
The Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There's a song.
There's by who?
It's an Avenue Q.
Okay. Avenue Q, for the uninitiated, is a X-rated, hard R-rated version of Sesame Street.
Yes, it's a Broadway puppet show that's supposed to be Sesame Street. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, they have Gary Coleman as a character in it. Anyways, Schadenfreude is a song in there, and it means sour grapes, and it's taking pleasure in other people's pain, which is what everybody on Twitter that's not Elon Musk is doing right now. Well,
right, and that's the whole thing. It's like the drop in Tesla stock as of yesterday. Yesterday, it wasn't quite half, but it was like $1 or $2 above the halfway mark of what it was when he took over November 27th. Because I looked it up. There's so many people would post the end of the day screen grab from NASDAQ, up, down another 11%, up, down 8%. And there's been prominent stockholders who have been going on Twitter and posting, Elon, please get off of Twitter and go back to Tesla. You're killing. My portfolio is cut in half. I mean, there are real people losing lots of money, over this, which is just great, I mean, and then of course, he had tweeted out oh, should I step down? And then when people said yes, and when then somebody one out of a million people, and it said, oh, you should only take votes for people who pay you for the blue check mark. It's oh, right, because that's fair. You can only vote in this state if you're rich and white. And so,
did you pay your registration fee for voting?
Right, exactly. Right. And look, it couldn't happen to a nicer douche. We'll talk about the World Cup in a little bit, but you guys have seen the screen grab of Elon Musk, who got most of his money from Saudis, standing next to Jared Kushner, who just got a couple $1 billion, and then the bone saw, the bone saw brigade. Right. At the World Cup, and it's that whole box is just one festering piece of crap. But yeah, so he's having a bad day. I got a notice from Twitter that I had a warning thing put on one of my tweets because
you told that Santa North Pole joke.
No, he would have been suspended if he told that joke on Twitter.
It was one of those things and it's funny how two things are going on that I'm noticing that I've been talking about ever since he's taken over. My timeline is now 40% of people I would never follow. And people, I wouldn't follow people who followed him, even if that was their job, like Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And a Boebert thing came up on my timeline. And just before I blocked her, I quote tweeted it and I'm like, she voted no on a bill, one of 29 people who voted no on a bill that was an act to protect victims of sexual abuse. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, you didn't want to vote on this because your husband's been arrested for showing his penis to children at a bowling alley, which he was arrested for. And I posted the link, from I don't think it was CNN or whatever, posted. And I got flagged for that. But there was an appeal process. And I filled out the form. I'm like, no, what I said is 100% true. I posted a link from a very reputable, credible, news organization. And here's the link.
MSM? Mainstream media?
Lamestream media, man. And about 20 minutes later, I got we took the warning off of that. So, but then today was a happy Twitter day for me. I put up a tweet that got the most likes and the most retweets of anything I ever put out. And it was simply, I saw Pete Buttigieg on MSNBC this morning talking about, look, the whole country is going through a weather phenomenon now. And everybody from the FAA to the airlines are doing what they can. We've actually opened up military airspace to commercial flights because there's certain altitudes and stuff that they can't fly. Yeah. But they're like, we're clearing airspace. Whatever planes can get in the air, we're trying to get as many people from point A to point B. Right. And then he says, And I want everybody to remember, I know it stinks, and I know everybody's aggravated, and I know everybody wants to get home or get to their loved ones. But please remember the people working on these flights and working at the airport, they have no control of the weather in your city, the weather where the city you're going to. They make none of these decisions, and they're doing the best that they can to get you to your families while they're not home with their own. So please kind of try to keep that in mind. And I just put a thank you to him. I'm like, hey, I just saw, I added Secretary Pete Buttigieg at NBC. It was great that he put out this simple message. It's great to see somebody with real compassion. And I guess people responded in a very positive way. Like,
well, cool.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like as of this podcast was like 320 like retweets or like 50 retweets and 320 likes, which for me is probably more likes than everything I posted collectively. But and with my Twitter, I don't complain. One by one, I've been blocking more and more of those awful people and liking more and more fun stuff, and trying to get my feed. Oh, here's comedians making jokes. Oh, here's random movie clips from the 40s. Here's this Buster Keaton clip where it shows how he did this incredible stunt in 1921. Over.
Oh, thank God. Well, that's the end of the podcast, everyone. Ha ha. Just kidding. There's more.
My biggest tweet was when I asked Melissa Etheridge a question, because I actually was looking at my old yearbook and there was a photo of a performer. We had these, it's a college, right? We had just random performers, and said, this sounds a lot like Melissa Etheridge. So I basically clipped it and, sent a tweet at her, say, hey, did you play on the Caltech campus around 1983? And she goes, yep, that's me. And oh my God, I missed that guitar. Guitar got stolen. And, 8 gazillion, likes, and, because it's a photo of a young Melissa Etheridge. Lots funny things. Lots of ladies telling me how beautiful she is. Yeah.
Was that when you performed as David Partridge? Did you open for Melissa Etheridge?
That would have been phenomenal. But see, the thing is that what she did actually required talent, and so we wouldn't be in the kind of it's kind of like how you don't have Worcester open mic open for
Jerry Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, whomever, Trevor Noah, right? It's kind of like that.
And was that a talent show? Why did you do that performance?
It's kind of a talent show, but it's too stupid to explain. But
is there any way you could post that picture? Because it was awesome.
It is phenomenal. Yeah.
A young felt like Biff. Were you Biff at the time?
I was Biff at the time. I was
okay.
Biff. I was like the Biff. Like my 4th day on campus, I was Biff.
Yeah, because you're ignorant American said, no, your name's too hard to say. So
right. Welcome to Ellis Island. Your name is Biff now.
Yeah.
Man, did they Americanize your name? It wasn't even close.
Not even close.
I went to Ellis Island University.
Oh, man. So since we've last talked, the crypto market has crashed phenomenally. Is where the Kings play? Have they renamed it Staples Center? Have they just come back to Staples Center to save the embarrassment?
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that. I wonder how they're doing. Well, yeah,
and we all know the NFT market is just what is worse right now, the NFT market or Tesla?
It's just good enough to afford that guy. What was his name? Sam something Friedman.
Friedman,
right.
Yeah.
Fried.
He came home from Bahamas, by the way.
Yeah, like it was enough to afford the crypto market is good enough to afford him $250 million bond.
He was down in the Caribbean because he bought a gigantic house for him and his parents down there. Right. He had to go back to Santa Barbara, house arrest at his parents' house, but his parents had to put his house up, for it, anyway. Yeah. But I say that because the guy who lives in Florida that we're all such big fans of, his NFTs that got released last week. And on one hand, let's talk about let's make all the jokes at every late night talk show and everybody, like, as soon as I saw that, because my kids have been ahead of the curve on day one, thinking NFTs were the stupidest things. I mean, they're not the most internet savvy, but they're savvy enough. And my oldest one is like, I don't get it. You can just click on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, yeah, you could take a picture of the Mona Lisa, but like, you'd have to steal the Mona Lisa painting to say, oh, I own this Mona Lisa painting. Anyways, and we were talking, and he said, he's like, the only thing that would have been a douchier move if he released a line of vape pens. Like, if he came up with a line of vape pens, and it's like, I was saying, I congratulated the guy, because honestly, to get one more grift in just before the Christmas shopping season, just before. But then I was reading about this. I actually read a couple things about this. It's like, oh, it's more genius than any of us think. First of all, I mean, you guys saw the clip. Tell me you saw the actual clip. Did you actually get through the whole clip, Biff?
No, I would not. I'm not going to waste my time on that garbage.
But did you see the clip, Joe?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Is he your favorite president? Better than Lincoln? Better than Washington? Like, he said those.
Better than Lincoln.
I sent it to my cousin on SNL, and I'm like, good luck. Like, good luck coming up with something better than this fucker. And so he gives a speech. He releases them. It's like, clips, pictures of like my great accomplishments over my lifetime. It's been quite a ride. It's like, I don't remember him playing in the Super Bowl. I don't remember him being an astronaut. I don't remember him. And it was like, if you asked a 7-year-old on a sugar high, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. No, I want to be a cowboy. No, I want to be an NASCAR racer. No, I want to win the Super Bowl.
But
no, I want
to. Wasn't it weird that for the football one he was in his suit?
But here,
I mean, everything else he was in the, like, he was in a cowboy outfit, and he was in a the astronaut
but
outfit.
He's wearing a suit, holding a football.
What is his football team ownership look, or because he did own the New Jersey Generals, right?
Joe and I did a sideshow about this, about when he killed the USFL. He single-handedly killed it. But I actually am going to take a skate around on this. I noticed something. I think I put it on Twitter. I didn't see any of the late night people talk about this. I didn't see any press about this. And his NASCAR thing, he's wearing a NASCAR uniform with all the patches on it. On his right leg, it says 47. That's not a random number.
No.
It's not a random, but nobody has picked it up and ran with that. Now, we're all laughing. And once again, he's laughing his way to the bank because he sold out in 2 hours.
Right.
Now, but it couldn't be a story about that guy without having an extra layer of awfulness, slash conspiracy. They're $99. They cap it. You could only buy up to 100 sets. You couldn't buy. No one person on the same credit card, the same company, the same person could buy 101 sets. And this is why they were speculating this. If you give a gift, you can give somebody a gift up to $9,999, and they don't have to declare it, and you don't have to declare it. You can you can gift somebody that money. Also, if let's say you're a political person who might be running for a political office again, and somebody who can't be making a donation that would get flagged of $10,000, over it. So this was a way that people could buy 100 sets that would cost $9,990. So it wouldn't go over that threshold. So people are like speculating. It's like, oh, well,
but can't you spend your own money for elections? I mean, there's nothing preventing you from spending your own money for elections, right?
Well, that's spending his own money. This is a way of fundraising without breaking any fundraising rules. He can use that money from this nefarious scheme.
Well, but I mean,
and because it's under $10,000, you don't have to disclose. It was somebody in China. It was somebody in Russia. It was somebody in Saudi. It was a bunch of people in Saudi. It was a bunch of, and this is a way for people in a 2-hour span to say, oh, you got some legal trouble coming up. Here's $4.4 million that we cannot open up your book, no matter what you subpoena, no matter what law you want to try to find. There's nothing that says we can come and and the brilliance of it, and I hate to say it, but the brilliance of it, it's like, oh, my taxes are about to be released in a couple days.
Yeah.
And people are going to find out I paid 0 taxes in 2020. That the 6 years before that, I toggled between 2% and 4% taxes. Oh, the January 6th thing is going to make, I might be needing lawyers sooner than later. And let me look at his notes. Hasn't paid any, so it's getting harder and harder for him.
Oh, it's okay. Rudy will do it pro bono, you know.
Oh, he would if he legally could. If he legally could practice law, but that's the thing.
About, like something being legal ever got in the way of this group?
Well, yes, because you can't go into court. You can't file dockets in court if you don't have a law license. Yeah. And I don't know if it was Trevor Noah or if it was Seth Meyers, because to me, I don't see color. It's one guy to me. And one of them had a list over the past 6 years on one side of the screen. Here's the lawyers that have lost their law license who worked for him. Here's a list of lawyers who've represented him who are now in or on their way or got out of the Gray Bar Hotel. Yeah. You know, I mean, and it's not like 3 or 4 names. And then here was a list of people who have filed lawsuits against him for not payment of legal services. So you're either gonna go to jail.
That's a Venn diagram, isn't it?
It really is. You're gonna either go to jail, lose your law license. Either way, you're not getting paid. Now, who wants to represent him next? So again, we're all laughing at it, but he doesn't fucking care. He laughed his way to hey, if either you fucks made $4.4 million in 2 hours, I mean, that's a lot of awfulness. Anyways, let's see.
Jacques is checking his notes.
Yeah, I am. But so, and I'll ask you guys, and I know what my answer is, but I'll ask you first. Do we see a perp walk in 2023 with that guy?
No,
I don't think so.
Why don't you think so?
Because he's
these people
above
never
the
go
law.
to jail.
Yeah.
These people never go to jail.
No, I don't think he'll ever go to jail. But do you ever think he'll get arraigned?
No.
Even that's a long shot, I think.
I mean, there was
Republicans are going to run the House of Representatives,
but that's out of their hands now. That's what.
So what? Is it the January 6th committee is going to write a strongly worded letter to the Department of Justice and then leave it up to them?
But it's also the state of Georgia. That's a different case altogether. That's not through the Department of Justice. That's not through the House of Representatives. I don't think I sadly agree with both of you guys. That I don't think Merrick Garland wants to. Because I honestly think there'd be bloodshed in the street. I think his Proud Boys, his Oath Keepers, 3%ers will actually go. A lot of Blue Lives Matters people are going to change their minds.
They're still standing by.
Yep, standing back and standing by. So I don't. I don't. And we all know. Look. We're going to have nothing but chaos for the next 2 years. It's already chaos inside that party. Like, look, there are people, they're all shitbags. I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Like, all of them, every single person in the House voted against money for baby formula to be flown over during a crisis. They all voted against. We don't have to go down the list, but now they're going to have the gavel. And it's just going to be chaos, but they're already the infighting with them. But somebody pointed something out. It's like all these investigations are going to have the guy who is already named to head the I'm not going to say it right, so please forgive me. What do you call the legal branch of the House? The Judiciary Committee? Am I saying it right?
Judiciary, yeah.
Thank you. It's Jim Jordan. Now, Jim Jordan was subpoenaed by the January 6th committee, and he did not show. He did not accept it.
Yeah.
So why on earth would Hunter Biden? Why on earth would anybody say? Because any one of their lawyers would just say, it's like, no, I'm not honoring your subpoena. Roger Stone didn't show up. You didn't show up. So you want me to show up and honor your subpoena for the same committee or for the same level of whatever that you said no to? So I think all of their investigations that are just going to be clown shows, that are just going to be, I don't think, why would you? If he didn't respect it, why would anybody bother to do it?
Well, I mean, just in general, right? I mean, it's just has. I don't think the who's in charge matters even now, right? I mean, they've kind of set the precedence that, right? You don't, oh yeah, you get subpoenaed by a House committee, and you just ignore it, and nothing happens, right?
Right. So they can have a committee with no witnesses, and they can do whatever. Yeah. But let's talk about something happy to kind of end this part of the podcast on. The speech from the Ukrainian president at the House, dude. That guy is, honestly, it's only 2022, and I know we got another 78 years to go before this century is over. But he is the front runner for the greatest leader of the 21st century so far. I mean, he's got the early lead. We got to, don't forget by 1922, the best team in the history of baseball was the Boston Red Sox. up till 1922, the best team, unarguably, was the Boston Red Sox. The rest of that century, looking at my notes, not so much. So close. But his speech was awesome. He is awesome. He's a fucking inspiration. And well, that's my thoughts. You gentlemen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think and I guess the big thing with him is that it's just a whole manner in which he is clearly kind of like with the people. He's in the fight, right? In a way that you actually haven't seen before, right? It's not like other countries have been attacked, right? I mean, we've had turmoil in the Middle East and wherever else, but I just don't think I've ever seen anybody basically just get in front of it to say, this is the whole hero thing, right? I mean, the guy is just basically saying, we are not, going to lose this fight. We're going to fight till the end, and he's literally leading the way, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. I saw him on David Letterman on the Netflix show, and that was a trip. I mean, they did the whole episode of David Letterman interviewing Vladimir Zelensky in the subway of a Polish subway, or was it in Poland? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
it was on a platform. It was like an active subway platform. So that I didn't see the actual address to Congress, which I know is inspirational. But yeah, he's the real deal, Holyfield.
I'm trying to find the quote. I was trying to find the quote. I should have done 4 seconds of preparation before bringing this up. But when the fighting started and the U.S. NATO came to him, and the U.S. came to him and said, "We're getting you the fuck out of Dodge," and he's like, "You send weapons here. I'm not leaving. The fighting's here. Don't come and get me. Send weapons. Send aid. And it's going to be a big thing because." The U.S. did not want to send in Patriot missiles. And again, the U.S. took a really hard stand on that 6 months ago. And now, now they're going to send the Patriot missiles, or hopefully that's in the process.
Right, yeah.
And they're still not sending offensive weapons. Like so all the saber rattling for Putin. It's like, oh, you're escalating the war. It's like, hey, if we were sending missiles that could hit Moscow from Kyiv, maybe we're helping escalate this. But by sending strictly defensive weapon stuff, no, we're just keeping you from being the genocidal prick that you are. Anyways, so we got Putin, we got the Ukraine, but that's not as awful as what's going on in Japan, which you just shared with
my
Joe
God.
and I.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, and I probably should post this one because
please do.
It does have that powerful reenactment, which we all like. So
Was that
you know,
Pixar? That
Was,
reenactment?
was that Pixar?
it's the parent company of Pixar.
Okay.
It's no, so these towns have been ravaged by this this unscrupulous thief that's going around stealing produce from family farms. It's just awful. I think that the count was 20 heads of cabbage, maybe 100 green onions, and 25 daikon radishes, and 50 eggplants, I want to say.
Let me guess how they caught them. Did they catch him with a box on a stick with a string attached to it?
I swear.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
So
Yeah.
Biff, could you break down? Do you got any idea like the value of those radishes and stuff like that? What was this?
It's
What's
gonna
the
be
exchange rate from U.S. dollars to radish?
Well, the Japanese yen is a little bit weak right now.
Uh-huh.
Like if it was a year ago, maybe it would be like $70, but maybe it's like $50 now at best. Who knows? Now we don't know how. Yeah.
What I like is like the night vision cameras set up all around this tiny family farm.
But you kind of think about it, right? It's like, he's obviously not going to steal it and try to sell this stuff, right? So it's probably for himself. And I'm thinking, like, what is your vegetable budget, right?
Well, the funny part of the video isn't so much the crime, but him trying to evade
I
getting
know
caught.
the cops,
The way he's laying down. It was reenacted, but it was him laying down in a cabbage patch.
Yeah. So that so people can't see him, in the dark.
He wasn't even wearing camouflage.
Right.
Like
that's not easy to find in Japan. It's not like this country.
Oh,
right.
it was
Every corner drugstore in America has a camouflage.
Yeah.
For the
But the reenactments, it's like there's a couple fucks, some poor people back at the station having to like go through all this animation project, and it's a 4-minute news piece.
Yeah.
It's like it was that national news. Or
it's national news. It's national news.
I give anything to live in a country where 4 minutes of the national news is set aside for reenactments for cabbage thieves.
Do you have cabbage thieves in this country? I don't think so. That's how safe this country is, because people aren't stealing cabbages.
Inside Edition would call that the Cabbage Patch Con.
Yeah. I don't know what I like. The fact that you're so dead on with the title or the voice. Because that 100%.
Awesome.
Simpsons reference,
100%.
He's Rowdy Roddy Peeper. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm trying to look what time. Biff, what time is it where you are? Is it the same time it is here? And that's time for self-indulgent theater with our good friend Joe.
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. This is I've been listening to the Gilbert Gottfried podcast episodes with Mario Cantone, Stoneham's own, Stoneham, Massachusetts' own Mario Cantone. The Tony-nominated actor, comedian, homosexual man, and he is just hysterical. Every Christmas he would appear on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast and do impressions and songs, and it just inspired me so much that I texted Jacques earlier and said, you know what, for Christmas this year, my gift to you, and by gift I put like 5 quotation marks around, is to do a self-indulgent theater request of anything, as long as it's holiday themed. Anything you want, just name it. So here I am. I will be your dancing monkey. What do you want?
That thing about the kids. No, that's not going to happen. I would love my favorite Christmas song is, and I always say, I have about 4 or 5 favorite Christmas songs, but I come back to the same one every year. Father Christmas by the Kinks. Kinks are one of my favorite all-time bands. I think that's a great Christmas song. I thought about going with the David Bowie, Bing Crosby, Little Drummer Boy, but I didn't know if Biff wanted to do an a cappella with you. I was thinking about going with Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC, but I said to Joe, if you could do me the kindness, maybe, and it's not an easy song, it's the Davey Brothers they bring it. They brought it. they're the best of the best. So it came down to we are the world.
So
do you know it's Christmas or Father Christmas?
Wait, so the waitress's Christmas wrap doesn't make your list? Because I think that's an outstanding song.
You know what? You know what just almost came into my horizon of the other day, and I wrote this note down. Twisted Sister.
Oh yeah, Dee Snider has a he did a
dude. It's We're Not Gonna Take It. It's literally he took the karaoke music of We're Not Gonna Take It and did oh the faithful joy and it's the cadence. And it is.
It's
We're
come
not
on,
gonna
ye
take
faithful
it.
to.
Yeah.
We're not going to take it. Great.
And it's great, but it's not as great as what Joe's about to do. Won't be a dry eye in the house. This is going to be me watching a back-to-back Spirited, Scrooge, followed by Wonderful Life.
So I need you to plainly state your request in English. That the audience understands what I'm about to do.
I would like our good friend Joe, as a Christmas present to all of us, to do the Kinks Father Christmas in the voice of Mario Cantone.
Mario Cantone.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to shit my pants.
Now you might have to.
No, I can't. No, I can't. No, I'd be canceled.
Do I go with Paul Lynde? Do I go? Can you know what? In memory of our beloved Gilbert, could you do it as Gilbert?
I'll do anything you want, but remember, people have to listen to this.
All right. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you know what? I would like your Gilbert. In honor of our, because don't you think that'd be fitting? I think it'd be. And if you got a voice that you like, if you want to do it, but Jimmy Stewart kind of be tough to do it because this song kind of moves in time. I don't know if Jimmy Stewart could keep up with it. But
I'm leaving this in your and Biff's capable hands.
Biff, you've heard some of his voices. Do you want to go Jimmy Stewart? Do you want to go Paul Lynde? Do you want to go Gilbert? Do you want to go Stewie Griffin?
I actually think Gilbert might be entertaining.
All right, the people,
the two people
around the world. Representing two different continents have and one of them incontinent have spoken. Gilbert Gottfried doing the Kinks Father Christmas.
Okay, well, you wanted to see it. You wanted to hear it. Here goes nothing. And play. When I was small, I believed in Santa Claus, though I knew it was my dad. And I would hang up my stocking at Christmas, open my presents, and I'd be glad. But the last time I played Father Christmas, I stood outside a department store. A gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor. They said, "Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boys. Or you could give it to me. I could sell the toys for money later. Don't give my brother a Steve Austin outfit. Don't give my sister a cuddly toy. We don't want a Jigsaw or Monopoly money. We only want the real McCoy. Father Christmas, give me some money. I'll beat you up if you make me annoyed. Father Christmas, give me some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. Give my daddy a job, 'cause he needs one. He's got lots of mouths to feed. But if you've got one, I'll have a machine gun, so I can scare all the kids on the street. Father Christmas, give us some money. We got no time for your silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the rich little goys. You can also order my cameo, which I'm still doing from Beyond the Grave. All proceeds go to me, really. You still need money up in heaven. Have yourself a merry, merry Christmas. Have yourself a good time. But remember, the kids who got nothing, while you're drinking down your wine. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Father Christmas, can give me some money. We've got no time for your silly toys. Father Christmas, please hand it over. We'll beat you up, so don't make us annoyed. Father Christmas, give me some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. I'll also take bath soaps, but give it all the toys to the little rich boys. Or a hand lotion, or even like a pastrami sandwich. Really anything. It doesn't have to be money. Maybe a ride to the Chuckle Hut. I'll take that. Anyways. And now back to USA. Up all night.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Oh, the subtlety of sneaking in the "I'll take some bath soaps." That's little inside baseball with our beloved Gilbert, and then the ride. The fact that he would get on Greyhound buses to go do gigs to save. In his documentary, he did. It was like he could fly from point A to point B for like $70 or take a $30 bus ride. And the people at the Greyhound station is like, is that really Gilbert Gottfried getting on the bus for 6? Oh, Joe, it's been way too long. Oh, not a dry eye in the house. God bless us, everyone. I honestly, that's it. It's like Christmas. No matter what my kids get me, which won't be anything. Can't get me anything. Management, I think finally
gray hair.
You're right.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, dude, but that was great. I mean, that seriously, Joseph, take.
Thank you.
Around, just literally take a skate around,
and hopefully that retires the Gilbert Gottfried.
No,
damn it!
Back. It's coming back with a vengeance. Speaking about coming back with a vengeance, just quickly, and I texted to Biff and Joe. You're on the thread, and the hockey guys. Look, I know I keep saying it, so I'll believe it, and so I calm the fuck down. But honestly, the Bruins are just on a historical pace. Segueing to sports now. They've played half their home games this season. And at the halfway mark, they're 18-0-2 at home.
Yeah,
and on the
ridiculous. Yeah,
and on the road, there's something like 14-3. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's they're but with one of the things that I'm really impressed about is half of their wins have come against teams that made it to the second round of the playoffs last year. So they're not beating the crap out of crappy teams. They're beating Toronto. They're beating New Jersey. Teams that are. If the Bruins weren't on fire all season since day one, Toronto would be running away with it. I mean, Toronto is just I think Toronto has like 5 losses total or something like that, 5 or 6 losses. And the Devils lost like one game out of like 14. You know what I mean? So there's a couple great teams this year. Also, the World Cup. I don't know if you guys followed the last few games, but I didn't watch much, but all of a sudden, and I'll talk about it like a little bit in my parenting tip, but my little guy out of nowhere became a Ronaldo fan, and I don't know why. And then when Ronaldo was out, he tells me this whole long story how there's a French guy who always looked up to Ronaldo, who Ronaldo was kind of like, right? No, they're like, that's like Lemieux and Gretzky. There's a huge argument. Okay. It's like, who's better, Messi or Ronaldo? Okay. And but there's a guy, Mappy, who's a French player who's like 23, 24. And in the final game, honestly, it was an amazing game. It was 2-0, which is almost an insurmountable lead. Like at halftime, it was 2-0, and with 10 minutes left, France scores 2 goals
in 2 minutes.
And inside the same player, inside 90 seconds, scores 2 goals, and then it went to overtime. And they don't play sudden death. It's a 15-minute thing, and they played 15 minutes. Nobody scored. But honestly, the French goalie in 6 games before their finals had a total of 10 saves. Like, and 6 of them came in one game against England. So in the other 5 games, he made a total of 4 saves. Like less than 1 shot on net he had to save, and they won. In the second 15-minute overtime, he made 6 or 7 saves. Like 2 of them was like it hit him, a rebound bounced out, and he made another save, and he's down and out, and then jumps and just, and then on the other side, France should have buried 2 or 3, and it's not that they didn't make great shots out of nowhere, like the Argentina, like the last 5 minutes of the World Cup. Those 2 goalies just played disgusting. Like you will not see outside of an episode of Ted Lasso season 3, goalies make more saves. Like you can go a whole game with a shot on net collectively between 2 teams, and it can still be a great game. Yeah. But it was amazing, and I know all the politics of Qatar and everything else, but I did watch the finals. It was great that I've never watched a sporting event with either one of my boys dialed in. Like that personally had felt like they had stakes in the game. You know what I mean? And it was interesting. So, but you guys,
if you're going to get into this World Cup, you might as well watch the greatest World Cup game ever played as your inaugural event.
Right. You know, hey, here's a tip to everybody out there who's a virgin, who's listening to our show. The first time out of the gate, do not have sex with a supermodel or porn star. You know, supermodel is probably boring and lay there. Do not have sex with a porn star right out of the gate or a pro. You know, don't go to a pro your first time out. You will be chasing that dragon forevermore. Like, you know, but I did want to touch on something at this point that happened. So we recorded 2 Fridays ago, and this happened at the next Patriot game. Anything that anybody has heard about the NFL over the last 10 years in concussions is complete bullshit. Even when all that evidence came out and the NFL tried to bury it, and then there was too many bodies to bury. And then when the movie came out, that really, you know, I can't remember who started that movie about the concussions, but it really slapped the NFL in the face.
Will Smith?
Hi-oh.
Oh, thank you. It was Will Smith. Thank you for playing along. Tell him what he's won, Joe. But that movie came out.
Another 30 minutes on the show.
God damn it. No, that's the booby prize.
So the boobies.
I like a booby prize.
So the NFL, all this lip service, and a couple years ago, look, Julian Edelman was concussed in the Super Bowl that he won the MVP. Unarguably, he was concussed. Like that last 10 or 15 minutes, I'm so glad he played. But man, when he has dementia at 46, it's gonna be awful. But
the crowd could still hear the bells ringing in his head.
Right. So they which way did he go? But he. You know, here comes the pass. Which one? The one in the middle. Catch the ball in the middle, Jules. And he, but after that, it's like, okay, we're not going with your team's concussion guy or our team's. There will be a spotter that provided by the NFL up in the box, and there will be a concussion guy on each sideline, you know, that the team has to pay for, but it's through the NFL. It can't be, and I forget what team's concussion doctor let somebody back on a few years ago. So the Patriots 2 weeks ago, receiver makes a pass or makes a catch. Hold on, because I do want to get the names right. Like that, I wrote it down. Yeah. Dante Parker of the Patriots makes a catch and got crushed. Literally got lit up like a Christmas tree. # War Christmas. You know, and comes back to the huddle, and then they're lining up like 30 seconds for the next play. And one of his teammates looks over and he's not lined up in the right spot, and somebody's trying to coach, Dante, where to go. And his own wide receiver puts both hands up in the air, walks across neutral zone, and waves the play off. Like, he didn't care if he's taken a delay a game, an offsides. He called off the play, and he walked on over. And at that point, his teammate, and Aguilar is just, if you're going on a football field or down a dark alley, you want this guy having your fucking back.
Yeah.
And then he did. Then the play basically collapsed, and they helped him up off the sideline. Like, where was the Patriots spotter? Where was the Patriots coaches? Where was the NFL concussion? Because it was one of those plays where it's like, how the fuck did he get up, let alone jog back into the huddle and then line up? But like I said, he was lining up in the wrong spot. People line up in the wrong spot, but his teammate realized, okay, he's not confused at what play this is. He's confused where the fuck he is.
Well, maybe it's because Dante didn't yell the special concussion doctor word,
Yeah. But I mean, it's especially bad because earlier in the season they had that issue with Tua Tagovailoa, right? Where I mean that and because he's obviously Tua's a star, so that that went under that had a huge amount of scrutiny already. So it really is, obviously this issue is very much systemic, right?
I mean, so and the same thing, it's like, it made the news a couple days later, but where the fuck was the head of the NFL Players Association? Why wasn't he in front of every bank of microphones saying, this is bullshit, this is awful? I mean, it's like, I know the player doesn't want to cause waves and stuff, but on his behalf, the fact that there wasn't more an outcry, the fact that, oh yeah, another day, another disposable wide receiver.
Yep.
Next man up. Let's go. Come on. Next man up. We got another play to run. Let's go. Yeah, it is harder and harder to support that, which is why, Tom Brady's not here, all that stuff. We're not that good, so it's easy to say that's why I'm not watching, but it is just horrible. But let's go to something not horrible. Joe, what are you doing with the games these days? Christmas? What's happening in the Christmas gaming world at your house? What present did you unwrap under the tree that you wrapped for yourself the day before?
I mean, I can't say. I mean, even though everybody knows in my house that is listening that nobody listens to this podcast, but I got there are some upgrades being made. Some upgrades being made.
So you have headphones on. So let's say, did you get an upgrade to your PS4?
No.
Okay. Did you get an upgrade to the latest Xbox?
No.
Okay.
That's
but
a third.
There is the Cube. You got the new Cube. The new Cube. ColecoVision came back with a handheld football game that is
no. What's the thing
Switch?
That turns? Yeah, there you go. I
The
got
Switch.
A new one of those.
Very nice. Are you going to pretend to act surprised when you open it up?
I mean, it's not. It's a gift. I'm not actually. That one's not for me. But there is something that's for the family.
Oh,
that's new.
Oh, nice.
Is it Yahtzee?
No. Mattel puts out this awesome thing called the electronic football handset.
Yeah, good. I cannot wait to see. Your management. If there's one thing I know, strategies on the jet sweep ride is her sweet spot, man. It's like she just has owned that play for decades. Well, good. What about you, man? You got any?
I'm playing this awesome game called Microsoft Excel. I've been doing it a lot. I stay up all night playing this game. All night. It is so much fun.
My favorite part is sort by column A, and then sort by column D, and then sort by column E. That's my favorite.
Let me I mean, I'm really excited about the release of the XLOOKUP function. Which because everybody knows that VLOOKUP is just garbage, and people don't want to use index match. But now with the XLOOKUP, finally, Microsoft has solved that dreaded VLOOKUP issues.
I mean, have you been on the XLOOKUP Discord? Because I mean, it's really blowing up. I mean,
I should, but I just have no time because I'm just spending so much time playing on the Excel. I just need to pry myself away and do other stuff.
Don't go into VR or an Excel because that's just a rabbit hole that you'll never get out of.
It was everything I could. I had to go in and get these Joy-Con like thumb cap things for my oldest guy the other day, and they had 3 kinds. I wasn't sure which one he wanted. I bought all 3, knowing I can bring them back. I come home, it's like, no, it has to be the purple ones. And I'm like, you motherfucker, It's like so I ended up having to go to a different GameStop the next day, and that GameStop, as I walked in, the guy's like, oh, those for you, blah, blah, blah. For PS4s, he goes, oh, have you upgraded to PS5 yet? We got them. And I'm like, oh, I can't justify it. And I'm like, well, my birthday's because there's a lot of things, it's the holidays, and there's a couple unexpected gifts that had to be bought. The one who's also getting his computer finally, or hopefully, if also decided to tell us, oh, by the way, the nighttime retainers I have to have. Yeah, I haven't found them in a while, and we got to get more. So that was right at Christmas. Wait, what's another $850 on retainers that you spent $450 on in April? It's just money. It's just money.
That's funny because when John Taylor now talks about retainers, he actually gets money. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but
would it shock you to hear me say I think he might be a little smarter than me? Look, I know I have delusions of mediocrity, but even I know that there's so that's my gaming thing. It's like, no, I'm just gonna play on the PS4 a little longer and just keep kicking ass on Gotham Knights.
Dude,
we'll be there.
I bought a game last Christmas for the PS4. I haven't opened it yet.
Wow.
I think it was the new Spider-Man video game, Miles Morales. So I wonder why I didn't play it yet. Anyway.
Choo-choo. Isn't there a new one out? Because when I was at GameStop, there was a promo for a new Miles version of Spider-Man, unless it was a year-end recap show that they're showing the best games of 2022. Maybe
I think they were working on Spider-Man 2.
Is there an invisible mode in yours where he can?
I haven't played Miles Morales yet, so I don't know. Maybe it's a new thing. You know what? Maybe I'll open. Maybe I'll just re-gift that game for this Christmas because we haven't played it yet since last Christmas.
I can say this loud and proud because A, she can't hear me upstairs, and B, I think she expects I do it. Like, there's been a couple presents that management needed a couple years ago that are sitting in the same spot in her room that last year I wrapped in different boxes, like a box within a box type thing. And so she will be getting the Nintendo Switch Crossy Roads edition. You know how nobody could find that 2 years ago, and we found it, and then we didn't need
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, Animal Crossing limited edition Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch, mint in box.
Wow, okay.
Because it's never come out of the box. Yeah, somebody's getting that again. You know what I mean? There you go. So Merry Christmas to her. So anyways, that's it on the gaming front. I think we covered the sport. So I think that brings us down to streaming. What are you guys, what are you watching, Biff, other than your Excel spreadsheets and hockey that you would recommend people to watch over Christmas break?
I mean, do people have time? For streaming when they have hockey and Microsoft Excel? I mean, I don't know what kind of like. You'd have to not sleep, to be able to.
You must have a 36-hour day over there.
Yeah, summer is make time. Summer. Well, what about you, Joe? What are you watching?
It's the holiday season, so I'm just watching the Christmas episodes of Price is Right from 1982. I wish I was kidding, but I'm also watching.
Is that on Buzzer?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, you can just look up. But I'm also watching the classics like Christmas Vacation, Scrooged. I'm going to solo It's a Wonderful Life. I think on Christmas Eve. So
Yeah.
I have to go to like a Get Smart, 6 rooms deep room
Dun,
where
dun,
no one,
dun,
it's soundproof.
dun, dun,
Where
I will
nobody
say though,
can-
I did pry myself away for a Christmas show last week.
Oh,
So I went to a stage show called Die Hard, where it's the Die Hard story on stage to the music of Heart.
our friend of the podcast, Jenna. What is the group that did that? Is that the Troubadours? Who do
I think
that?
that's
The Troubadours. She had for years. She tried, and we had tickets, but we couldn't go to. Hold on. Oh, the little David Bowie boy. It's like the little drummer boy, but the
Okay.
music to David Bowie. But yeah, oh, dude, that's so
It was great. It was, they had it was one of those, the fourth wall is clearly down to a point where they actually dragged audience members into a scene and stuff like that. Very, very, very fun. It's one of those things where I don't know why people don't go to, more shows, right? More live shows, because they're fantastic.
I would rename that show Little Drummer Bowie. If that
It might have been. That's I'm messing up the name, but if you go to the Troubadours, not the Troubadour, not the club, the Troubadour, but the Troubadours, and look up like past shows or stuff like that. They've been doing this for maybe 20 years.
I'm getting the Troubadours Greatest Hits album.
Yeah, you really should. I mean, no, look, Joe and I.
But those are for housewives and little girls.
Joe and I.
Troubadours. The Dickens.
The Dickens, mother. Joe and I are always in a contest of like who can leave the house least to do fun things every year, but every time I go, and honestly, if it wasn't for management, I want to go to half the things. But when we went to see that Nightmare Before Christmas burlesque show with just an awesome band, just that awesome band. I'm like, God damn it, it was one of those things. It was one of the rare times that I'm like, okay, I got a little taste of LA here, because that's something that you can see all the time in LA, whether it's, the Troubadour show, whether it's Lucha Vavoom, whether it's Point Break Live,
It's like flying in a New York pizza, and
right.
it's like,
yes.
You get that little taste of
And there's a Star Wars burlesque show, right? Going on over here.
I went to one a couple years ago, and it was awfulsome. That's what I hear. That was painful. But there was another one that's like really great. But I would. But I'm so glad that you went to that, Biff. I'm so jealous. That is just awesome. What club was that at?
There's a place called the Colony Theater. It's actually kind of attached to a mall in Burbank, but it's it's an actual regular theater, so seats and stuff like that.
Like 100, 150?
150 around there. Small theater.
That reminds me, this week I'm actually going to see one of those types of shows called It's a Wonderful Leaf, and it's all Leif Garrett songs. So it's all Leif Garrett songs.
Wow. Wow.
Stay up all night thinking of that one?
No, it was just a couple minutes.
I don't want to have to go back and listen to all 300 episodes of this show, but that could be the first Leif Garrett reference in 6 years of Carnival Personnel. Oh, look at that. It's a twofer. First and last reference of Leif Garrett Carnival Personnel. Let's just check that off the list. There we go.
Rest in peace.
Oh.
Is he? No, I'm asking. Is he dead?
No, just his career.
The other.
Well, didn't he
kill somebody?
Cripple somebody?
He killed somebody. Yeah.
No, he crippled somebody.
Crippled somebody. Man, like I've done to this podcast.
Yeah,
right. So moving on to the it's the end of the year. It's the day after Christmas, but it's still the holiday seasons. Do you gentlemen have a last minute under the wire parenting tip for 2022 for all the bad parents out there who don't know what they're doing, like All-Star Tommy?
You're thinking of this place all wrong. I don't have a parenting tip. You think I have a parenting tip in a bank somewhere? No. My parenting tip is in Biff's box and in Jacques' box and in All-Star Tommy and the others and the rest. Yeah, you Biff, you're a parent, you know. Well, you think Potter would have given you a parenting tip? we gotta stick together. Potter isn't selling, Potter's buying, and why? Because we're panicking and he's not. No, we can get through this. We just gotta stick together.
Well, I do have a parenting tip.
Two self-indulgent theaters and one episode.
Well,
not
that
a
one
dry
was for
eye.
New Year's. That
Not
one was for
dry
New Year's.
eye in the house. All right, Biff.
Yeah. I do have a parenting tip, and you can get it for $99, limit 100, and it's limited. Only 45,000 being made, so get yours now.
Oh, if you only could. My parenting tip is to my youngest, and my parenting tip is, buddy, don't get emotionally involved in sports. You'll have moments here or there rooting for people you will never meet that will bring you unimaginable joy. The other 99 games that you watch will be soul crushing. And sure, you look back now and then and say, yeah, we did win 6 Super Bowls. But you know what? You won't think about those 6 Super Bowls. No,
I think that's a you problem,
Adam,
because I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem.
Hey, look, if the Leafs won 6 Stanley Cups, you might understand what that's like.
No. I'm saying, like, listen. I'm at a point where Steelers won 6 Super Bowls, the Kings won 2 Stanley Cups, and more importantly, I witnessed one of those Stanley Cup championships. And I said, you know what?
Yeah.
When it's disappointing, I said, you know what? I had my high. It's like I'm okay with, like,
But see, okay, so here's the difference, and here's why my parenting tip to him is different than your experience and mine. I now know what you're saying, Biff, because had the Patriots not done what they did, like had the last 3 Super Bowls not happened after the 3 crushing losses, because at one point it was like Brady was 3-2, going into his 6th, time. But Joe will attest to this. It's like growing up in this region where sports is the biggest religion. It's not Catholic. It's not the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is pretty big here. It's pretty fucking big here. But it's not the Boston Red Sox. It's not the New England Patriots. And over the years, yes, the last 20 years has been an outlier. But again, when you talk to your friends about growing up, when I talk to our good friend like the blind squirrel, we still have nightmares anytime you're watching the 3rd game of the Bruins season with 81 more games to go, and they get called for too many men on the ice penalty, and right away you're 10 years old.
I think
but that's you.
Problem.
But no, it's not a me problem.
You problem,
Biff.
This is a you problem. You entire New England area.
Okay, but I also know other people.
You problem.
I know other people who are long suffering. So my advice to him is like, yeah, don't get too, and that's falls on deaf's ear, because my mother would tell me it's just a game, and I would say, no, my entire happiness for the next year is dependent on what happens with this field goal right now. And as Joe's looking at me smirking, he knows.
You know what your parenting
true.
You know what your parenting team should be? Your parenting team tip should be, hey, when you refer to your favorite team, don't say we, because it's not you. I don't know who else does that. But when you talk about your favorite team, it's not we. You're not part of the team. Call them by name.
Yes.
Have a separation.
What? Right. And basically respect pronouns is what you're saying.
Yeah, pronouns. Absolutely.
Proper pronouns.
Well, you should check their Twitter feed to see what they put on their handle.
So we won't have a Carnival Personnel, a regular show to the new year. We have a year. Well, actually, this is it.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. Make no mistake where you are. But we will have one the day after, one will drop on January 2nd. That won't be a regular show. It will be hey, this is what we're looking forward to in this year. So I will bid you two fine gentlemen the best of the rest of your holiday season. It's been, it's been I'm trying to think of the line from the band leader on the Titanic. It's been an honor playing with you.
Yes.
Because this feels like the Titanic each and every week.
Yeah, right.
But somehow we get a sequel. I won't let it die.
It's slow. We know it's coming, and yet,
And it's celebrating its 25th anniversary.
yeah.
Oh wait, that's the other Titanic. And Kate Winslet was not fat in that movie. I don't know what people are fucking talking about. She was fine, in my opinion. I liked it. So, yeah. The Titanic was a good second part of that movie. The iceberg part, that was a real good part of the movie. Yeah, that was a good time. So, yes, Biff, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year,
Jacques. We'll should I want to. Maybe we should watch the Three Stooges marathon together this year. Maybe we should make that's a Boston tradition with the Three Stooges marathon on TB 38.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what we would do. And maybe we'll do that. So should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot at old lang syne? Attaboy, Clarence. Attaboy. To my big brother George, the richest man in town. That's from another movie, It's a Wonderful Life. No, it's the same movie that I keep referencing over and over. Uh-oh, I've entered a fugue state. I can't get out of it. I'm just going to keep rambling until somebody says, don't forget.
She was not lonely. She was only waiting for the cosmic show to go away. Tired's not bad when she's giving head. When she first wakes up and when she goes to bed. But in between she's got all these things to say. Little slack there, you know, that's the slack.